hey y'all, I'm just looking at Corundum. Maybe I should tell you a little about it, huh? Alright, so here we go then. I'm a Corundum robot number 1, here to inform you about our lovely mineral Corundum. The name Corundum of this mineral is the most standard of hardness, number 9, and it is insoluble in acids. Talk about being one tough customer, right? So here we can find our own Corundum. Generally, Corundum is found in igneous and metamorphic rocks, which content usually have emery, cyanite, or pegmatite. These rocks tend to form under high pressure and relatively high temperatures. Pretty warm, you say, around the thousands of degrees Celsius. A lot of times you find Corundum along with other minerals like albite, muscovite, and kyanite. That really doesn't tell you what Corundum can look like. Corundum, tabular to prismatic shape, habit. Yeah, more about how to see and identify Corundum. Obviously, like I was saying, it has some interesting shapes and habits, as you can see on here. But birefringence is gray to white, really low, first order colors, you know. Doesn't have a lot of interference going on in there with fast and slow rates. That retardation doesn't really affect it much. Corundum has adamantine to subadamantine to virtuous luster. That's also something else that's kind of neat about it. Sort of a glassy kind of look, if you ever see it, or a dull look, depending on what's all in there, the trace elements and everything. But Corundum also has an uneven fracture, no cleavage, and because it's very hard and the crystal structure is pretty dense. Hexagonal crystal, 3 bar over 2M, 2 over M, point symmetry. It's pretty interesting, you should know that. Pretty good to know. Corundum also has a basal parting, which means it parts along its middle plane of its unit cell. It's a very flat plane. A rhombohedral parting, and also a Corundum has very common twinning on the 1011 in the hexagonal Miller Industries notation, and very uncommon penetration twinning, if you all know what that is. Another really fun fact about Corundum though is its uses in industry and why it's important to us nowadays. And as you see, my body is falling apart right now. So, anywho's, its uses in industry are mainly as abrasive just because it's so hard. And the reason that it's such a great abrasive is that it has its brittle tendency or habit to break apart into very sharp, durable pieces, which make it great for sanding wood, metal. Metalworking industries use this all the time. Corundum is just very popular. The demand out of all minerals is like a 9 out of 10 because the minerals are great sandpaper. You'll find it in really old sandpaper. Nowadays, not so much like the real mineral. Synthetic mineral, all the time. Sandpaper, look for it, it's there. It's also used as a great polish for metal. Polish the nice metal up, get your chrome looking good, nice and shiny. You know, for those guys with those nice shiny cars, they probably got some Corundum polish. It's pretty good. And yeah, it's used in cutting tools too, when diamond is just not as efficient to use, when it's too expensive, when you don't need to be cutting things just as hard. Corundum's a great way to cut stuff up. It'll go through anything, like butter. Okay, so that's all I have for you, but my partner's got lots more, so here she is.
Hi everyone, I'm the Corundum Information Robot 2. So today I'm going to talk about the colors of Corundum. Right. The reason why Corundums have colors is because of the trace element in it. As for example, when a Corundum has a big amount of chromium in it, it would appear pink in color. But when the Corundum has much more amount of chromium in it, it would appear deep red in color. As for example, the ruby. Ruby is a red Corundum and it has a special name which is ruby. And now let's move on to the sapphire. Sapphire has blue in color because of the titanium content in it. And as for this blue Corundum, it has a special name which is obviously sapphire. And as for the other Corundums, which has, like as for example in this, it's like green color, yellow and pink. They are called as green sapphire, yellow sapphire, and pink sapphire. But if let's say someone just mentioned as sapphire to you, it means they are referring to the blue colored sapphire. Corundum. Synthetic corundums have many usage, and one of it is they're used as gemstones. So first of all, the producers would find for the bauxite rock, and from this rock, since gemstones have color in it, so the producers would add the trace elements such as titanium, chromium, and such trace elements into the bauxite rock to form the synthesized corundum. And here we have one type of synthesized corundum. Alright, so since naturally corundums do have the asterism effect. What is asterism effect? Well, asterism effect is can you see the shape of star here? This is what they call as asterism effect. So to produce the asterism effect in the synthetic corundum, the producers will add titanium oxide, which is a mineral that will crystallize on itself. So when the mineral crystallizes on itself, it will form the shape of star. The titanium oxide will be arranged in the shape of star, so that after it crystallizes, it will give the asterism effect to the synthetic corundum. To better understand the synthetic corundum stuff, we can use the analogy of this, we can assume that Rolls-Royce is the natural corundum, while the Chrysler 400 is the synthetic corundum. So that's all from me. Thank you.